The rain fell quietly over the small city that evening, turning the streets into long mirrors of yellow streetlights. Daniel Carter tightened his jacket as he stepped out of the delivery van. It had been a long day. His back ached. His eyes burned from exhaustion, and all he wanted was to go home to his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. But there was still one package left. He checked the label again.
Elena Whitmore, penthouse 47.
Daniel frowned. Everyone in the city knew that name.
Elena Whitmore,
the powerful CEO of Whitmore Industries. A woman who appeared on magazine covers, business channels, and billboards across the city. People said she was brilliant. People also said she was terrifying. Daniel sighed. Just another delivery, he muttered. Still, something about the package felt strange. It was small, wrapped in expensive black paper, and unusually heavy. He walked into the towering glass building. The lobby was quiet, polished marble floors reflecting the soft chandelier light. Behind the desk, the security guard barely looked up. Delivery. Daniel nodded. Penthouse 47. The guard raised his eyebrows slightly. Late delivery. End of the route. The guard hesitated, then handed him a visitor pass. Elevator to the top floor. Daniel thanked him and stepped inside the elevator. As the doors closed, he felt a strange tension. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the rain tapping softly against the building windows. Or maybe it was the feeling that tonight was about to change something. The elevator stopped. Penthouse floor. The hallway was silent. Soft lights glowed along the walls, illuminating expensive artwork. Daniel approached the large black door labeled 47. He knocked. No answer. He knocked again. Still nothing. He checked the delivery instructions. Signature required. Daniel sighed. He was about to turn around when he noticed something odd. The door wasn't fully closed. It was slightly open, just a few inches. Hello? He called gently. No response. His instincts told him he should leave, but the door slowly creaked open when he pushed it. Miss Whitmore. He stepped inside and froze. The penthouse looked like something out of a movie. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. Modern furniture. Dim lights. But that wasn't what shocked him. Across the room, standing near the window, was Elena Whitmore herself, barefoot, wearing a loose silk robe. Her long dark hair slightly messy, as if she hadn't slept. She turned slowly. Her sharp CEO expression softened when she saw him. "You're late," she said quietly. Daniel blinked. I'm just the delivery driver." He held up the package. "This requires a signature." Elena stared at the package. For a moment, something strange passed across her face. Not annoyance, not surprise, something deeper, almost fear. "Finally," she whispered. Daniel hesitated. "Should I leave it here?"
No.
Her voice was suddenly firm. "Bring it to the table." He walked across the massive living room and placed the package down.
Elena approached slowly.
Her eyes never left the black wrapping paper. Daniel waited awkwardly. "Signature?" he asked again. But Elena didn't respond. Instead, she picked up a small silver knife and carefully cut the wrapping. Daniel watched politely until the box opened. And then,
Elena gasped.
Not a normal gasp, a shocked, trembling one. Daniel instinctively looked down. Inside the box was a small velvet case. Elena opened it, and the moment she did, her face went completely pale. Daniel leaned slightly closer. Inside the case was a diamond ring, but that wasn't the shocking part. Beneath the ring was a folded photograph. Elena slowly picked it up. Her hands were shaking now. Daniel noticed something strange. The photo looked old. worn, almost 20 years old. Elena turned it over, and suddenly, she looked straight at Daniel, her eyes wide, confused, almost terrified. "Where did you get this?" Daniel blinked. I just delivered it." "No," she said softly, her voice shaking now. "You don't understand." She held up the photo. Daniel looked at it, and his heart stopped. The photo showed a young woman holding a baby. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was the man standing beside her. Because the man looked exactly like Daniel. Same face, same eyes, same smile. Daniel stared at the photo in disbelief. "That's impossible." Elena whispered something so quietly he almost didn't hear it. "I've been looking for you for years." The room suddenly felt very small, very quiet. Daniel swallowed. "What do you mean?" Elena looked at him again. Not like a CEO, not like a stranger, but like someone who had just found a missing piece of their life. Her voice trembled. "That baby," she pointed to the photograph, "is me." Daniel felt the ground shift beneath him, because the man in the photo was his father, and the next words Elena said made his blood run cold. "If that's your father," she looked at him slowly, "then we need to talk." For several seconds, the room was completely silent. Daniel Carter stared at the photograph in Elena Whitmore's trembling hand, trying to convince himself that what he was seeing wasn't real. But the face in the picture, the man standing beside the young woman, looked exactly like his father. Same smile, same sharp jawline, same eyes. Daniel slowly shook his head. That's my father," he said quietly. Elena's breathing grew uneven. "I know." Daniel blinked in confusion. "You know?" Elena gently placed the photograph on the marble table, as if it were something fragile and dangerous at the same time. "Yes," she whispered. "I know exactly who he is." Daniel felt a strange knot form in his chest. "My father died when I was 16. Elena looked at him again, and for a moment the powerful CEO mask she usually wore seemed to disappear. Now she just looked human.
Sad.
12 years ago," she said softly, "a man saved my life." Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" Elena slowly walked toward the window that overlooked the glowing city. The rain outside had grown heavier, streaking the glass with silver lines. She crossed her arms and stared into the distance as if she were looking into the past. "I was 22, she began. "Young, stupid, reckless." Daniel remained quiet. "I wasn't a CEO back then. I was just the daughter of a billionaire who thought she could do whatever she wanted." She laughed bitterly. "And one night, that almost killed me." Daniel leaned against the table, listening. "It was during a storm like this," she continued. "My car skidded off the highway outside the city." Her voice lowered. "The car flipped into a ditch." Daniel's expression grew serious. "I was trapped inside," Elena said. "The door wouldn't open. Smoke was everywhere." She closed her eyes for a moment. "I thought I was going to die." Daniel felt a chill run down his spine. "Then someone pulled me out." She turned slowly and looked at him again. "A man." Daniel's heart began to beat faster. "He dragged me out of the car just seconds before it exploded." Elena walked back to the table and picked up the photograph again. "This man." Daniel stared at the photo again. "My father?" he whispered.
Elena nodded slowly.
"Yes." Daniel struggled to process the information. "But he never told me anything like that." "He wouldn't," Elena said gently. "Why not?" "Because he made me promise never to talk about it." Daniel frowned. "That doesn't make sense." Elena took a deep breath. "That night, after he saved me, I asked him his name. Daniel waited. He said his name was Michael Carter. Daniel's chest tightened. That's him.
Elena nodded.
But before he left, he told me something strange. What? She looked down at the photograph. He said one day, if something ever happened to him, I should find his son. Daniel felt a wave of confusion crash over him. Why? Elena's eyes slowly met his. He said his son would need help one day. Daniel laughed nervously. That's ridiculous. My father was just a mechanic. Elena shook her head. No, Daniel. Her voice grew serious. He wasn't. Daniel stared at her. What are you talking about? Elena opened the velvet box again. The diamond ring sparkled under the soft lights. Your father worked for Whitmore Industries. Daniel's eyebrows shot up. What? Secretly? That's impossible. But Elena's expression didn't change. He was part of a private security division that my father created years ago. Daniel shook his head again. You're telling me my dad worked for billionaires and never said a word? Yes. Why?
Elena hesitated.
Because what he protected was worth billions. Daniel felt his stomach drop. What did he protect? Elena slowly slid the photograph across the table toward him. Me. Daniel looked at the photo again. His father's arm rested gently on the shoulder of the young woman holding the baby. That baby is you, he said quietly.
Elena nodded.
Yes. But why would my father be protecting you? Elena's voice dropped to almost a whisper. Because someone wanted me dead. The words hung in the air like thunder. Daniel felt his pulse racing. Who? Elena didn't answer. Instead, she walked toward a cabinet and pulled out a folder. When she returned, she placed it in front of Daniel. Open it. He hesitated for a moment before flipping it open. Inside were documents.